given permission to emigrate in order to leave as soon as possible, which he did. The Soviet authorities refused to accept Lerner and Goldstein brothers as participants. Chronicle of Current Events, issue 37.
One, I would pay the fees for Soviet refuseniks scientists, but that didn't mean that they could come. We should organize a panel session. What is the Western approach, which is artificial intelligence, and what is the Soviet approach, which was cybernetics. And I thought it would be, if I could develop a panel that would be acceptable to the program committee, that they could learn, or would certainly be able to come. But I didn't have the authority to form such a panel, nor did I know Lerner at the time. I never, he did not know me, I did not know him, and I don't know if he would agree to be on a panel. And so I thought I would contact Lerner, but then I found out that Lerner doesn't have a phone because it was taken away by the KGB. His mail is censored. What I plan to do is ask everyone in the artificial intelligence community to boycott the conference because Lerner couldn't come. And I got responses from over 300 people who said that they would boycott the conference because Lerner couldn't come.
Overall, professional communities reacted strongly to any violations of human rights in the USSR, especially to the significant trials, such as the trial of Daniel and Sinyavsky, on the trial of Ginsburg, Kolonskov, Dobrovolsky and Lashkova, as well as those of Kovalyov, Orlov and others. We will talk about the central figure of one such high-profile case in the next episode of Parallels, Events, People. I am Natalia Boltyanskaya. When National Parks traveler Micah Meyer visited Everglades National Park, he says he got a good idea of what southern Florida looked like before it was developed.
Everglades was really fascinating because it's this huge section of land when compared to a lot of national parks. I mean, it takes up like the entire southwestern corner of Florida. Essentially, before human interaction, everything south of Orlando looked like the Everglades.
On the raised boardwalk of the Anhinga Trail, Micah had unparalleled views of what's called the River of Grass.
It's a marshland with a bunch of trees, and so there's all these birds everywhere that make it their home. We saw terrapin turtles. There's gators, sunning on the banks. Easily the most amount of wildlife I've seen in one place at one time.
Another highlight for Micah and his travel companion Angie Waldron was wading through knee-deep water and mud on a hike called a sluice log.
It sounds gross, it sounds horrible, but it was one of the most fun things I've done in a national park yet. You start out and you slog through the mud.
How is it, Andy? Muddy.
And then eventually you get to the water. It feels like you're on another planet, like you're in an episode of Star Trek.
In another part of the park, they had an exhilarating ride through the famous southern Florida wetlands on an airboat, courtesy of his guide Ozzy from Everglades Nature Tours.
I think what made this so special is that our guide had grown up in this area, and he knew it like the back of his hands.
Hey, Mama Gator, how you doing? Ooh, she ain't happy.
And so he took us out on this airboat into the middle of, they call it a river of grass. And right away he takes us to the spot that he knows about where there's always a mama gator which basically she's warning us, like, my babies are here, don't mess with me or I'm going to get really angry. And then, sure enough, we look around and we saw like 8 different baby alligators.
Ozzy also showed Micah and Andy some of the area's plant life.
Has all the nutrients that you need to survive out here. You can't live on it, but you can survive on it.
He shows us, they call it sawgrass, because if you pull your arm against it one way, it won't hurt you at all. But if you go the other way, it'll cut your skin because it's got like little saw ridges on it.
My favorite tool that we used it for was to cut the umbilical cords on the babies.
Micah, who's on a mission to visit all of the more than 400 sites within the National Park Service, says his adventure on a boat tour at the edge of the Everglades captured the wonder of his wetlands experience.
We had heard that oftentimes you can see dolphins on this tour, and it delivered. It was so cool. It's such a rare treat to see something in the wild and not in a zoo or not on TV or not in a National Geographic magazine. This was real. It was real life.
Julie Tabo, VOA News, Washington.
barnaamijka qubanaha waxa aanu bilownay bishii Juulaay ee sanadkii hore waxaana hadafku yahay inaanu dadka u gudbino barnaamijyo muuqaal ah annaga oo hiigsanayna TV.
qubanaha VOA waxaan ku soo gudbinaa qubanayaal goosgoos ah oo xiiso badan oo ku saabsan arrimaha Soomaaliya, Mareykanka iyo caalamkaba.
haddaba qubanaha VOA da kala soco website-keena voasomali.com.
VOA presents the following National Geographic program as we continue to explore the world around us.
South Africa has one of the most sophisticated and extensive networks of marine reserves on our planet. Home! My home. I get to go home. You know, after 10 years on the road, and I was gone sometimes 300 days a year, I got a bit tired of not being home. So the next story that I proposed to National Geographic was actually a story about my backyard. I wanted to actually tell the story about our network of marine reserves. Marine birds normally don't feature all that much when we talk about marine reserves. However, this is what happens when they don't feature in management. This is a picture that I took on slide film in 2003. It's a place called Malchus Island. And I went back there for the article last year, and this is what I found. Major decrease in nesting numbers because even though this island is protected, the fishing grounds are not. The sardines and the anchovies that these birds eat are overfished. So a lot of these youngsters die on the nest. It's a place called Mercury Island in Namibia. And this is the centerpiece